Station gang, welcome back to round 2 of our Doctor Doom Book of Doom Omnibus review with myself and my special guest when we get to in just a minute. We are breaking down this great Book of Doom Omnibus into 4 sections and rotating it on both of our channels. We went through the first portion about a week and a half ago over on his channel, but without further ado, man, my co-host for this trip through the world of Doom, John's Comics with Kids, the legend. Let's bring him out. John, welcome, brother. Good to see you.
What is going on?
What's up, Doom? Man? That's right. Hail Doom. Good to see you tonight, bro. How you been? How's it been since the last time we spoke?
I've been looking forward to this. I'll tell you, we're getting into the Bronze Age. This is my meat and potatoes in my collection.
Absolutely, a couple classics on the docket for tonight. But sure. Yeah, like we were discussing before, we covered the early run, the Fantastic Four stuff, his inception, the Battle of the Baxter Building, some astonishing tales. What was your favorite single comic from round 1 going into round 2?
I'm gonna have to refresh my memory just to be certain. Yeah. I mean, I did love the origin story, the annual, that the Doctor Doom origin in Fantastic Four annual. Is it 2? 5?
5, no. Yeah.
5. That's really a great issue. I enjoyed that one a ton. Some of the Kazar stuff was interesting, but I didn't love it a ton. The Marvel Superheroes Doctor Doom is obviously a really great issue as well. Whoa, cat just attacked me. Get out of here, cat. Jeez, I got flying animals in here.
Yeah. I definitely, the Marvel Superheroes was a pleasure to revisit. Yeah, so that is one of those astonishing tales that I think that one we were talking about that was kind of like Triumph and Torment really surprised me as well. So those were fun to get into. But yeah, tonight we're going to turn the page and we got another set of books on the docket, and like I said, a couple classic tales are in the mix. We have the just to give you guys a general recap. Yeah, we have Giant Size Supervillain number 1 and 2, the team ups, of course, with Namor in both of these issues. Then issues 13 and 14. The classic Byrne cover, the Magneto story, another Namor story as well. I guess starting off here, what's your history with supervillain team ups? Were you familiar with these books at all going into it?
I had never read a single issue of Supervillain Team Up, not a one, and I'll tell you why. It's because of the guy he's partnered with right here on this guy. I am not Namor. Namor can stuff it. I know. I mean, I get it. He's got his hots on a woman named Storm, but it's the wrong Storm, Namor. It's not Sue Storm. It's Storm the mutant he should be interested in. So I've never been a Namor fan, and he appears too often for my likes in Supervillain Team Up. So I kind of steered clear of it until now.
Yeah. Agreed. Same with me. I think in the Doom canon, you get to these stories kind of later on in your collecting, in your your development as a reader and I guess a historian of Doom. You know what I mean? These were all books I came to kind of later in my Doomdom, as it were. But yeah, there's definitely some gems and some great stories in the mix. It's interesting, and there's some interesting history behind some of them. It's like one thing I do find curious about Book of Doom is the issues that they choose to collect and throw inside this volume, and the ones they choose to omit and leave out. I think they definitely dropped the ball when it comes to Supervillain Team Up. 14, we'll get to it, I think is one of the better ones just from cover and content. But I think there's definitely a couple better stories that they could have given some love and some shine to in this one.
And do you want to say hi to the folks in the chat?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. Thank you.
No, that's all right. People are jumping in like crazy. I didn't want to miss anybody.
Right? We got our homie Johnny Recaps coming through. Johnny doing great horror reviews. Y'all go check him out. Johnny, thank you for coming through. Good to see you, sir. Magic Lasso coming through. I'm not doom scrolling. I'm doom watching. Thank you for being here. John on double duty. What is up, my brother? I love the cover to that Omni with that great bunch. Yeah, absolutely. John Byrne, baby, doing work.
Issue 14.
Yeah. Cat and villain mode. JP in the building. Doom sent that cat to get John because his praise for Doom was yeah, exactly. Definitely acting as an agent of Doom, right?
She really is an agent of chaos tonight.
Brian LCS. Brian, we had him on Blame Fable last week. It was great hanging with him. Good to see you, sir.
And congrats on his Kickstarter reaching its first goal and now onto his stretch goals. So congrats. Brian.
Yeah, I'll check him out with the doctor, man. Absolutely. We got E in the building. Station, my brother from Incan Insights. Be on tomorrow night. Conlon in the house. Conlon, what up? Thanks for promoting the show today, brother. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, Stevie. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I think that's everybody. Thank you for the chat reminder, John. You will probably have to do that several times throughout the show.
It was blowing up. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for being here and spending some time with us.
I was gonna say what was interesting about this issue 1, for those that don't know, is it's almost not included in this omnibus at all because most of it is a recap of other issues that are already in this omnibus. So my Omni, I thought, oh man, I got 2 giant-sized books to read, but the the giant-size volume 1 takes up all of 6 pages in my omnibus because that's the only new material that they're adding. I went and double-checked. I was like, this doesn't seem very giant size in my omnibus, but I went in on the app and I was like, oh, every page that it skipped, we had already read previously.
Yeah, and I don't know. Both of these stories felt a little flat in terms of the dynamic between Doom and Namor and just really what's going on. The whole thing is, I'm going to help you out. Are you going to help me out? Are we going to conquer the world together? Just a lot of back and forth and good old squabbling. But I think there's better examples of that and better stories you could point to and other supervillain team up issues. Were there any highlights or anything you wanted to mention? Any story beats? It was cool seeing Buscema on art, I think for one, right? Yeah.
The artwork in the first few bits, they're showing the outer space and the crash down to Earth, all was really good. But yeah, it did feel very much like a, have you never heard of these characters? Here's who they are kind of a book. Right. And again, if you can't afford maybe the first appearances, the origin books, whatever, this might be a fun way to get some of that material for a really cheap rate.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's interesting I'd like to know a little bit more, regarding editorial and the decisions they were making, just trying to keep Doom alive and these different books and, just how some of those decisions were made. And I don't know. I wonder what the sales were, but I of course, because I'm a fan, but I argue that they could have knocked all this Kazar splitting the book with other people nonsense off, and he could have taken one on by his own. But I don't know. It always seems like that's the case, and then he does well serving other people's books, and like having his own standalone title is another deal entirely.
Right.
But, I don't know. But the stories are okay. They're serviceable.
They're passing. Yeah, they're serviceable, I guess is a good word. It's just really repetitive and the characters are definitely not 3-dimensional in any way. They're not really here to try to expand on the characters of Doom and Namor. It's really here's the 2-dimensional villain. Let's have them, go back and forth and betray each other and all that stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt. 13 is more of that same vein, and we have the I don't know. I don't know all these characters like you said. I'm not familiar with all the Atlanteans and all what was it? Tiger Shark and Dorcas and
Warlord Krang.
Yes, Warlord Krang and Hydro and like all these. It was dizzying to keep up with sometimes in that issue.
But the value is like seeing Doom really like free the entire Atlantean population for Namor. Doom really does Namor a huge solid. Namor owes Doom in a big way at the end of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that's the like we'll speak to later with his relationship with Storm. I really love that when they finally get to what these characters have in common in terms of their regal nature, both being, lords of nations, and, both
And
struggling to
mega
do the best thing.
egotists.
Exactly. Mega egotists, half dictators, but, in some kind of way that you can't deny. Both, they want to do the best for their people and their own twisted vision, whatever their own twisted vision is of that. And
For sure.
it's dope to see him kind of like, I don't know what the right word is for it, but, put life into the Atlantean people, and, really,
For sure.
really kind of reinvigorate Namor. That's dope. And I think those are always some of the stronger stories when they play off of that dynamic.
Totally.
But yeah, man, I think issue 14 is the one that takes the cake, and I think to me is by and far and away the best supervillain team up issue there is. I think when it comes to Doom and what you want from one of these stories, both with like what I was saying, with cover and the content.
For sure, I agree. What's up, Rogue Collecting and
Fable in the
Station
building.
Of Fable.
What up, y'all?
Fable
Thank
in the
y'all
chat
for coming through.
This is the entirety of what I've read for Supervillain Team Up, and easily 14 crushes it the most. And it's got the best cover. I really love it. And it's got the best like concept, I think. And in the team up, I'm not a Namor fan, but your boy is a Magneto fan. So
all right, so let's get. What did you think about Magneto's voice inside this issue? He's clambering into John. He's all over the place. He's clambering. Really he's half drunk, clambering into Latveria, just annoyed that there's a parade for Doom. He can't stand it. Bum rushes into his office, basically up into the castle, and basically picks a fight with him. And Doom's like, "What is your problem? First of all, excuse me." I was curious the whole time I was reading what you thought, because I know you are a fan.
It is an odd version of Magneto. It's more in keeping with that period in time where this takes place, which is like right after him becoming an adult again, like and now he's just hell-bent on destroying the X-Men, needs some level of assistance with his megalomaniacal plan. But for me, it's all about like the Doom waiting for him when he arrives.
Yes. Doom with the chess pieces is always gold, dude.
He looks like a comic nerd playing with his action figures, which I'm all about. I'm all about it. They're massive chess pieces. They're enormous. And he says what he says in that first bit is he says, Reed Richards, a jest most cosmic has been played upon you, yet you know nothing of it. And therein lies the rub, my malleable opponent. For though Doom has accomplished what lesser men dare not even dream of, my greatest triumph remains unknown. My conquest has a bitter taste. My victory hollow and bored. Doom is bored. he's upset because he has basically taken over the world's leaders, but can't tell anybody about it. Like,
I love how his like action figure talk is like Shakespearean too. Like,
yes, well, of course, logically.
Great.
I find it hilarious that he's basically crafted a neurocanister gas that, when released, makes every living thing an unconscious servant of Dr. Doom, including you, Magneto. And then he says, "You will see, you cannot defy me." And then all of a sudden he makes Magneto grovel before him.
Yes.
Which is kind of like you're given the power of God and all you want to do is make people dance for you like monkeys. Like it's hilarious how petty Doom is here off the bat. He's bored, frustrated, and petty.
Absolutely. And like he makes Magneto, attack himself with, like, he pulls all the swords off the wall and then allows him to shield himself the last second. What I love when Magneto he comes out, he comes out of the days or whatever, and they propose the one-on-one matchup, and and then Doom like gives him a goblet to drink from, and Magneto, having just been through this experience, is like, sure, why not, and just gulps it down and then immediately passes out. He wakes up in some, and I love one of my favorite parts is when he goes and recruits the Avengers and recounts this tale to them, right? I woke up in some field, like groggy, not knowing where I was, and there's like the specter of doom in the sky. And like you talk about groveling, I love Doom just lets him go back to the Avengers, beg them for help, and then make them all grovel because they've all been exposed to this.
Because of course, why not? It's so wonderful.
It is. It's on 10, man. Like it's.
And I joked with you
with it.
I joked before we went live that what I liked, or what was most enjoyable or frustrating about it, whichever way you want to look at it, is that like this is an epic Doom plot. Ultimately, it's almost the plot of One World Under Doom, which is happening right now, where Doom is controlling all the world leaders. But it happens completely off panel. Like he's already conquered the world, and we don't even see it. Like, we don't see him inventing the canisters or launching them or the struggles he went through. It seems to have been so simple and so easy, and they decided not even to show it to us.
There's nothing. Yeah, there's no like effect of the gas. Like everyone's just like, the way you see it is by people's startled faces when they start kneeling down to Doom. Like it's fantastic.
You think how many canisters of this crud he would have to make to spread over the entire Earth and just get everybody? And it's like, no, we'll just trust us. He did it. It worked.
Right?
Like it's funny. A problem like this is made so quickly and easily, and at the end is dismissed so simply. It's sort of like it's for me, it's the hilarity of the genius of Doom when you can have such a solution occur so quickly and then have it destroyed so fast as well.
Seriously. And it's like, I don't know. I just love the way he plays inside it. Like, asking what should I have you do next, Avengers? Should I have you bay like hounds or, bark like dogs, and this and that? It's just, it's fantastic.
Yes.
But so our story continues into what champions? I forget. What number was this?
16.
16. Okay, 16. Yeah. And like we're again talking about backstage, the story kind of veers and takes a right here.
I love this. Yeah, I love this page where he's basically standing there with all the world leaders. Jimmy Carter looks like he's off his way to his disco. He's got like the popped collar and the deep V, and he's just like smiling in his leisure suit, like, "Hey, Doom, we'll hook you up, man. We'll do whatever you need." And then Doom's like, "Yes, bow before me. I am the great and powerful Doom. Don't jabber in front." He's just like, it's hilarious to me how easy this all seems. His great, how many times have we seen Doom with these epic plans of world domination? And here it's like, it's happened. He's done it. He's achieved his ends. But it just, the way it falls apart is almost as entertaining.
Yeah, and because it almost, like you said, it almost feels too easy for the man.
Right.
But yeah, so they call on the champions for help in this fight. Ghost Rider is one of the only ones affected because he's not breathing the air in, right? So he's able to apply Hellfire to Doom's mask, which forces him to take it off. Very cool art here.
Yes,
cool,
I did love that.
Yeah,
great use of the flames and the
it was
so
dope.
cool.
What are you at all familiar with the champions or that team? Or
I know of them, but I have not read any of their issues as far as I know. I did find it funny that the entirety of the control of the people is in his mask, and the second he takes it off, it's lost forever. It's done.
Yeah, very true.
So that little mask, those microchips in his mask, that was it. And now
he's like, he's like, I gotta get it back on. I only have a couple minutes before, and then he's like trapped in this never-ending cycle of Doom commands I must obey, but wait, who am I? I wasn't familiar at all with this team. I did find Hercules to be really annoying every time he opened his mouth, so it was good seeing,
which is comic accurate,
him getting his ass whooped. What did you think about the end here and Magneto's exit? It looks wild because it looks like he's riding a broom without a broom, the way he's flying.
So true. It's so true.
That art is crazy.
Yeah, I was laughing a ton. We got JP's back, and so is Cliff on comics. What's up, Cliff?
What's up, guys? Thank y'all for coming through. Sorry, I'm sucking with the chat tonight.
No, it's all right. I got you. You're managing the slideshow. I got
Cliff, what up?
Keep an eye out.
Hope y'all doing well.
it's funny because it's around the same time as this that he like flies that wagon all the way down to Antarctica with the X-Men in it. It's really it's an odd way of traveling, and he does look like he lost his invisible motorcycle or something along the way.
Yeah,
I do love that last panel with the long, slender Doom eye and face. It for me, it looks like he's crying because they broke his toy. he's like, but I had the world taken over. Oh man.
Yeah. And I love how he's like just frozen with his fist to the sky. Like I don't know.
Yes,
Somebody
the classic Doom pose. And
right?
I wonder what for me, this issue doesn't end because like they've surrounded him. Are they taking him to jail? Is he flying off? Is he?
And
he
seems helpless. Like, how is he? Yeah, and I don't know
if like there's a page missing here.
Right, and I don't know of like a story that picks up on this or mentions it, or like like in Fantastic Four 200 when he's fighting Reed Richards and he sees his reflection of his face and it kind of cripples him mentally for a while and he's out of the game, and that gets referenced in a bunch of different stories. But like you don't really hear about the end of this one. It kind of reminds me, him being frozen kind of reminds me of when he got hit by with that during the fight with Terax or whatever, and got hit, and his body got basically he did the opioid body swap with homeboy in the crowd, and I don't know. It kind of reminded me of that, him just frozen in place here at the end of the story. But I've never heard any resolution to this one.
No, and the whole Champions team's got him like dead to rights. I don't know where this goes. Instead, they're just like, it's the end. We're done.
Yeah. Cliff said this story reminds me of the time Homer had hair in The Simpsons. He easily could have bought more hair solution.
Right? Just plan ahead, Homer.
Yeah. Babel says her, he is, man. He is, unfortunately. But yeah. All right, moving on, man. Let's get to the
now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah, this was really fun too.
I was very surprised by this.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Frank Miller on the art here, guys.
Right. And Denny O'Neil.
Yeah, and Denny O'Neil on a Spider-Man annual. This is like some of our other stories. Doom's in this one, but I wouldn't say it's completely Doom centric. He plays a part at the beginning and the end, right?
Yeah.
With this character that he kind of sends off in tandem with Dormammu to. Did you ever get a real beat on what the Ben Sinister was besides like causing everybody to be like negative zombies?
I am not familiar with it.
Yeah.
I'm not quite certain what it all means, but I don't read a ton. The good and bad of this kind of an omnibus is how many characters and storylines I've never read before that intertwine with Doom. So I'm kind of like dipping my toes into the Champions and Doctor Strange now here. Characters that I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah, same. But I loved Miller's art in here, and you can see, the makings of, all the hallmarks of his aesthetic and, his style and what he would become known for kind of developing here. But it's really I like the storybook type sequencing, and the kind of feels like a old haunted fairy tale in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and he had these wonderful, double page splashes, he did this a few times where he had like one piece of art across the top and then lots of small vertical pieces in the bottom. Yeah, and I loved them. I think I got a couple of them here, but these were some of my favorite pages. And this Doom is a nastier Doom than we've seen in some of these other issues, right? He's watching. I remember there's one clip in here where he's watching video of Hitler, and the guy asks him why he's reviewing that. He's like, to learn something. It's like, all right, and he's real callous and real, obviously sacrificing this guy, which is on par for the character, but really leaning into the to the cold hard
for sure. Yeah. He's still very much in his. I haven't quite found that third dimension of my personality yet, kind of a thing. Right. So it's very much like, what are some of the evilest things I can do? Well, I can beat my henchmen, kill them off randomly when I want. I can review footage of the worst world leader that ever existed. Just the normal bad guy stuff.
Yeah. just cruel despot. But yeah, the Miller art is definitely the star of the show.
And he does some great stuff with like the psychedelic Doctor Strange world kind of stuff. There's obviously these panels stunning, like some really great stuff. But I think throughout, some artists can thrive in like cosmic stuff, some maybe in the supernatural. And I think, Frank Miller, is most of the stuff I've read from him and his art is a very noir type style, right? The Daredevil, the Batman, what have you. So it's kind of fun to see him stretching his legs here a little bit and getting a chance to do something more supernatural.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like you said, it's very cool when he sends this minion into the dimension of Dormammu or whatever, and we get all those super crazy psychedelic panels and him gaining his powers and kind of learning how to create this sentient soldier that he sends, this unstoppable Doomsman type of android. I don't know how to describe it. It reminds me of what's that robot that's with Thor, the giant one with the face that opens up and shoots flame out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It kind of gave me those vibes.
It's got a title, not a name, right? Yeah,
this thing shoots these black rays out of its eyes. So yeah, kind of reminding me of that in that sense. But yeah, they're trying to stop the world from succumbing to the spell, this Ben Sinister spell that's going to take all of mankind down with it. And they've taken out Strange, so Spider-Man has to get involved and help out. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was a pleasant surprise, and I've always circled this issue knowing it was Miller and early Miller and doing Doom and stuff like that. So yeah, this was really enjoyable to read.
Sure.
Full, like all the way through for the first time.
Eric, you might be right. It might be the Destroyer.
Destroyer?
It might be the name. It's something like that. It's a title, not a name, as far as I recall.
But just like a unstoppable
guy,
Andrew. That's the vibes I got.
And I realize there's a panel that I don't know if you've got it. Do you have another one in this storyline or no?
I think no. Sorry.
The last one I love. There's a picture of Doom when he's like holding the little henchman in a crystal and setting it on the shelf, and two of his minions are trying to make him feel better, but they're so tiny they have to stand on one another's shoulders to pat him on the back. So I don't know if you want to blow me up, I can hold it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's free.
Yeah, at first I was like, are they giving him a massage?
No, it's this panel right here where my finger is. You can see there's two minions standing on one another's shoulders to pat Doom on the back and make him feel better. It's so hilarious. It's like he's got the tiniest minions. It's like Time Bandits, right? He's got the world's tiniest little minion helpers.
Yes, absolutely.
Cracks me up. Sorry if I screwed up the.
No, you're good. Yeah, no,
system here.
You're good.
But it just made me laugh when I flipped to that page and there's like, hey boss, you'll feel better, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah. Very faithful, right? And they're the ones that dragged that guy and tied him up and sent him into that dimension in the first place.
Like, so, yeah. I think they know that if they're not nice, they're going to get sent to the next dimension the next time.
For sure. But yeah, great story, great art. That one was
and I wasn't expecting it. That was a lot, but it may have also been the palate cleanser I needed after some of those Namor issues. So
that's very true. Possibly. I'm glad they included this one in the omnibus though.
Sure.
Rightfully so. Yeah. All right, man. Let's get to our last chunk of the of this section of the Omni is going to be these 145 through 147 of Uncanny and Iron Man 149 and 150. For my money, two of the best Doom tales of this era. Still all-time favorites of mine as well. John, I know you're obviously the X-Men guy and a hardcore Storm fan. When did you first read this one way back in the day, or did you discover this one later on? Or
I think I read it in, I want to say I read it in classic X-Men form first. I don't
Mhm.
know. But this cover I had definitely gotten early. The far
Right.
one, I was like, this is trash. I don't want any of this. That cover is so bad. It's one of my least favorite X-Men covers ever. I don't even know as a kid if I could recognize anybody but Iceman on that cover. I was just like, who are these people? The costumes are so bad. I mean, Banshee is dressed as a space cowboy or something. I don't even know. That's Arcade floating in the background. I did not like that character, so I was like, so it's funny because this cover I love, and then the third cover is of course a great one, but for
Mhm.
146, man,
They missed
146
the
was a
opportunity.
big
They should have doubled
letdown.
up on the Doom
I
for
don't know.
sure.
Yeah, how do you got Doom, you got
And
Storm,
then because the opening page of 146 is that epic shot with like him
yeah,
standing and then
and
Storm. So it's like,
Storm is like frozen in carbonite or
yeah,
whatever. You
yeah,
could really do some cool stuff, man. I don't know why
absolutely.
this isn't it. This is this isn't it. But it's a good story. I think I'm curious your thoughts because I know that later there's a retcon to this that makes this not Doom, but a Doom bot that's like a haywire, out of control Doom bot. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh no, does that have something to do with tension between creators and one not liking what
I
the other
think
one did?
so. Yeah,
I've
I
heard
think
that
Vern or
stuff.
somebody was trying to
Yeah,
retcon change this. But
I've heard that story. I've
I
always loved this story, man.
I'd be
This is one.
frustrated to know that they were gonna like throw it out and make it a Doom bot.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's petty, at the same time, and you know,
Vern was a petty guy, so
yeah, exactly.
it
Right, par for the
fits.
course, exactly. But yeah, anything could be a Doombot. I think that's kind of like the tongue-in-cheek nature of their existence.
Right.
But yeah, this is one man, I loved Arcade as a kid in the 90s, John. I really did. He was one of my favorite villains, just on the animated show. And
Oh,
so
sure, yeah.
yeah, just discovering a place called Murder World, I was all in for. And
Right.
always been a fan of his. But this is a story I did discover somewhat later. But I loved it, and just what you're talking about, just to being touched on again, I love how it's been referenced in modern books, and how it really established the basis for this great comic book relationship.
Totally.
Is this because this is the first time these two interact? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the first of many times for sure.
Yes.
Because obviously you mentioned before we went live or in our chats that like that's what's happening now. The two of
Yeah,
them
man.
back in Latveria making a little excitement.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's just recommend that book real quick. You guys haven't been checking out the current Storm series. Lucas Wernick is doing some absolutely stunning, amazing, like some of the best artwork Marvel's putting out right now, and
Oh,
that book's been
preach.
a really
Yeah.
delight. Yeah,
Yeah.
episode or issue 4, not episode. I always want to say episode.
Yeah. Lots of great stuff going on in
Issue
that book
4 and
right now.
5. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
all the stuff in Latveria has been great. And of course her overall just the cool cosmic art like you mentioned Lucas Wernick has been doing really stellar.
Yeah, absolutely. So
JP says Doom may be the smartest and most powerful person ever, but he needs positive reinforcement from his minions. We all do.
he does. He does. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We'll see a little bit more from his minions in the Iron Man story. He said, "I always hated Arcade mostly because it's absolutely brutal game." Yeah,
Yep.
it was all right. It had its moments. Yeah, but I'm here for Arcade. I like the look of him, and I don't know. He feels like a character in Alice in Wonderland or something sometimes.
Oh, totally. Good call.
But yeah, this is you know, the classic story of him,
There's the cover. Yep.
faking. Yeah, that one's dope, man.
Dude.
And Storm's,
147 for
yeah.
sure.
Is that your favorite of the three?
I think it's my favorite Storm cover until she starts getting like the more rare
Oh, okay.
variants. There's that Silvestri Rain cover that's pretty phenomenal as well. But this one in the first probably 100 issues or whatever that she's in, like this is the champion right here.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Even Doom is cowering before her. Look at her. He's like, "Damn woman."
Yeah, I love him kind of like just running through the X-Men in his conversation early on with Arcade. I expected more from him. He's like, "You didn't think I could whoop up on a group of children, boy? What's wrong with you?"
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, Taki is in the chat. What's up, Taki?
Talk,
He
what
says,
up, bro?
have you started singing yet? You're like Michael
No, I'm not.
McDonald.
You don't want to hear me sing, brother. This is not Rockin' Robbie Live. We're not doing that. But yeah, I don't know, John. You know, you're the X-Men guy. Is there anything you wanted to highlight or say about Uncanny?
I like that Doom. This is the first time I think at any point Doom has recognized somebody besides Namor as an equal to him, or Reed, I guess. Reed and Namor up to now, and not only a woman, but a woman of color. I think this is kind of a revolutionary moment for Doom. How colorblind he is as far as that kind of stuff. He really recognizes, and it may just be the egotist in him. He recognizes people on their value, which is based on a number of factors, and none of them are gender and color of skin, right? He's clearly looking at Reed Richards for his intelligence, Namor for his strength with his civilization, and Storm here with her abilities, right? In every case, it's like, what can I get out of this? No, I need more of this thing. I need to con them into being a part of whatever my plan is. So I love that he's completely taken with her. Obviously, beauty, but beauty is like second on his list when he talks about I'm a king and she's a queen. Like, he recognizes her as like political might in some ways, right? It's kind of an interesting reaction to her that I dig.
And I love how she's going around fretting about how she's going to address the situation, and whatever. And she finally just goes like, oh, I'm just going to go talk to him myself. And I love that initial conversation, that that back and forth between them. It's so well done and so well written. Yeah, man. And I love the shock when he brings an arcade at the dinner table, and then that little sphere or whatever he kind of lets go that kind of tracks her and ends up encasing her in that metal. But he's just so prepared, and just such a great back and forth. A little bit of vulnerability, right, and a little bit of emotion, and then we're back to business as usual. So,
and Cockrum doing great work.
Oh my lord!
Interior artwork on these books. There's some real, like the issue 147 begins with that splash page of Nightcrawler in the storm falling through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable colors going on there. So really just awesome.
My bad. I thought I had the opening pages for these.
I got it right here,
up, dude.
Ooh. Yeah. This one, it's just a beauty. No flaws, no notes. Just an absolute
gorgeous.
Just gorgeous. Great color work in the background, and yeah.
I love that yellow.
Yeah, right. The little edging to his character is so good. Lots of good stuff going on art wise in these issues. And then of course, they best old Doom in the end, and Storm shows up with all her powers, and basically it's like, don't mess with me, don't mess with my friends. And then he apologizes to her. Aurora, I too would like to apologize. I'm a creature of habit. You X-Men attacked my home seemingly without provocation. I responded in kind. I would hope that we might begin anew. You are a fascinating woman. I should like to know you better. I just love he's still working all the angles. And her reaction is like, well, Lord Doom, we part neither as friends nor enemies. Our slate is clean. The next move, for good or ill, is yours. Basically, call me.
Yeah, I'm saying, look, we're about to find out. We're about to find out here in a little bit. Don't let the scarred face. Is it scarred? Is it not? I think he's like 6'6", 6'7" with all the metal on. Don't let all that fool you, man. My dude's got game. Like he stays with some beautiful women around him. So
for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. What's Brother Joe's in the chat? What's up, Brother
Joe? What up?
Did someone say singer? I'm here.
Yeah, we need you, bro, Joe.
Oh,
we need
so
you.
good.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Hope you're well. Yeah, man. But it's uncanny. The three-peat, it's such a great story arc, and it's a great. I think, is it Doom's? I wonder what Doom's first interaction. One thing I don't know is Doom's first interaction with the X-Men.
It's definitely not the first interaction with the X-Men, but it is, I think, the first interaction with the new team.
Yeah.
So in that way, there's a novelty to it. But I'm fairly certain that the older team had interacted with him at some point. I would have to imagine. But correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
No, for sure. Yeah, let us know, guys, because I'm not familiar, but yeah, just like I said, just such a great setting of the foundation between him and Storm, and a relationship that's given us so many great comic book moments. Since then, anytime these two sit down together at the dinner table, you know it's going to be a special moment, and we've gotten that time and time again, man. And so many great issues, old and new. So
yeah, if anybody hasn't read like the X-Men Red and Sword stuff from the Hickman era, there's some great time with Storm and Doom in those books too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Al Ewing was writing those. So if anybody's looking for Al Ewing, good read.
Al Ewing had a great voice for Doom. Really did.
Yes, most definitely. Here we go. Now here we go. Here we go.
I'm biased, man. One of my favorites all time.
And I had never read 149, so this was my first time reading it. Now I got to hunt that book down because I own 150, so I have read 150, but I do not own a 149. That cover is phenomenal, and what a great 1-2 punch these books are. Really
absolutely
strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry. And anybody wants to crap on John Romita Jr. needs to go back and get educated, because these books.
Talk to him, bro. Talk to him.
This is how you draw Doom, and this is how you draw Iron Man. Some of his Iron Man drawings. Like,
oh my God, that's so fantastic.
That's exactly how I picture the character in my head.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're fantastic. Especially in 149, you get a lot of that.
Yes.
Right? But yeah, and I, for a long time, you know, I had just read 150 and not gone back and read 149.
Okay.
This is before
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, either like even owned either one of them. So, you know, because the bulk of the story is 150, kind of 149 is just a setup to get there.
Right.
But yeah, man, Doom and Tony Stark, a tale for the ages, going back in time to Camelot. It starts out with Stark finding out that, you know, he's doing business with Latveria, and of course he can't have that. 149 is basically a battle of egos. Well, both issues are a battle of egos, right? But it's the battle of egos that get him in trouble. And Doom also falls victim to, you know, I guess it bears the consequences of mistreatment of his minions, right? Because Hauptmann is the one who gets them up on the platform and sends both of them back in time, hoping to strand them, you know, back there never again. Because don't forget, you know, Doom killed his brother at one point in time. You know, back in the day with I believe it was when he had the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer and wanted a guinea pig to test it on. So, you know, another byproduct of a guinea pig gone wrong. So yeah. Hauptmann at the end of 149 sends Doom back, and Doom and Iron Man back in time to Camelot.
Yeah, it's Fantastic Four 85 is when his brother dies. If anyone wants the connectivity, and you know, if you happen to kill somebody's brother, don't keep them around as like a helper. That was what I took away from 149. That was my big learning curve.
Absolutely. Probably not.
But again, the Iron Man
needs
drawing,
to update those personnel files. You know.
Yes. Right. I mean, clearly he knew. He just assumed it was, you know, not going to be coming back to haunt him later. But the Iron Man drawings are so freaking strong. And then, like you said, that fight between the two of them before they get sent back to Camelot's pretty awesome. But let's get into this, because it continues. The quality of the art just continues right here.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. We go back in time to Camelot, and you know, Doom and Iron Man find themselves right outside the castle. They soon get surrounded by the knights, you know, of the round table. And I love how Doom, you know, the guys poking him with the he's poking him with the lance, and Doom says, you know, you're going to be the first man to ever experience electricity. Here's a taste of alternating current, right? I love that sequence electrocutes dude. But yeah, you know, it's just great to see these two trying to find their way. You know, Iron Man, of course, is trying to get some diplomacy established and stop Doom from going ham and killing all these knights.
Well, but I think Iron Man's willing to admit, Tony's probably willing to admit, like, I know King Arthur's a good guy. I've read enough history to know that I trust that guy. Whereas Doom's like, I don't care what your history books say. I know that Morgana Le Fey is powerful, and I screw this guy with his fancy swords and knights. I could toast these guys in a minute. I'm off to go find the lady with magic powers. And I love that that's of course he would side with Morgana, and of course Tony Stark would side with King Arthur. I think it makes complete sense. So I was in completely on the concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And Doom getting dropped back in time, like in Camelot, but still like throwing on the jetpack to go catch a booty call with Morgana Le Fey is like next level baller. You know what I mean?
Respect.
That was dope. Yeah, absolutely.
Respect all the way.
But yeah, I love again, you talk about another Doom relationship with a woman that I love that we've seen, throughout the comics. Hickman played with her a couple times, brought in the storylines, Bendis as well. I remember the Cabal stuff, some of that stuff she was in a couple of those issues. But yeah, man, I just love the interaction between the two of them. Doom,
the artwork for like her layer and all of like the magic tools and stuff. There's obviously her dress is quite impressive as well. But I love the like skulls and the bowls of fruit and the candles and and there's a lot of great mood stuff going on. And then of course that far one that you shared there, like I love the way those panels blend together. It's not just like a 9-panel grid or what have you. It's a real kind of blend of moments across both, which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's lots of that happens in this book. There's a panel I'm looking at right now where it's like 5 panels, but like Doom goes the length of all of them, and he's just kind of like, faded in and out of all of them. Like he's just talking and he's listening to the story. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Would it to me she gave me like old Disney villain type of vibe. You know what I mean? That's
for sure. Evil queens. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, fantastic. And like she conjures up an army of demons to send Doom's kind of duped by her as well. He thinks what does she convince him that she's a prisoner? She's being held there by Arthur, right? But that's
I think she convinces him that like she could defeat Arthur and give all her, help. He could share the power with her.
The dark magics.
Yeah. She can't leave this tower because of magical reasons, but she needs a person to lead her forces on the field of battle. And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. You're trusting me with your entire army. I'm there.
Absolutely. And so, of course, Iron Man has to side with the forces of good, and he figures out eventually who's really, I guess, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, right? And goes to attack Morgana. Really some like you were talking about Romita's art, fantastic there when he's kind of battling her and all the different things she's throwing at him, all the different spells she's casting, and she's just like, I love her growing rage at why can I not beat this infernal person? He's using magic that's my sorcery is not on that level yet, and just like growing more and more discouraged. And how I hate you!
I love how Tony figures it all out too. He's very quickly deduces like what needs to happen, and apparently knew exactly where Morgana was. Apparently that was like part of the strategy session with King Arthur early on. Was like, oh, by the way, here's where the evil queen and my sister that's where she lives. And so he just books it right off. And Doom surprisingly does not see the game of chess that Tony's playing there, and is kind of taken unawares by the fact that Tony is outsmarting him by going and taking the queen off the table.
For sure. And Tony seemed, for as airborne as Doom got to hustle off to see Morgana in the first place, it seemed like Tony was definitely using that advantage, to its maximum gain during the battle. Yeah, and we got some epic art during that battle. The back and forth between this army of demons and the Knights of Camelot, or the forces of Camelot, as it were. Eventually, man, the issues brought home by this incredible team up between these two, deciding to work together. And I love the moment where they're like, all right, we're both gonna power down our suits, right? You know what I mean?
And then they come up with this whole like compromise, like 24 hours after we get back, we can't harm one another. They have this like elaborate, like 12-year-old pact, right? Where it's like, I'm going to spit in my hand, you're going to spit in your hand, we're going to shake on the fact that no backsies, you can't tag me until it's been 24 hours. It's hilarious. You know what I will say? Like, the joy I have for this comic is only made possible because I'm willing to put on my I'm a 12-year-old hat. And I think I struggle with that sometimes reading Silver Age stuff because I wasn't a 12-year-old in the Silver Age of comics, but I was a kid during this kind of age of comics. I was probably 8 or 10 or whatever. And I'm absolutely able to put my mindset in the world of like, would I want to see Dr. Doom and Tony Stark leading armies and battling in the age of King Arthur? Sign me the F up. Like, this is it. This is how am I not? The fact that I actually already owned this book makes me feel so good about my comic collecting that I just had this book at the ready for tonight. It's like, dude, it's the sweet spot for a lot of things. And even though the ridiculous ending of like, whoa, we made a deal, but let's addendum, you can't attack me for 24 hours. It's like, why would Doom even agree to any of this? Like, or just like not go back on his word? But he's always a man of his word. Doom always keeps his promises, as we've seen a couple times.
For sure. And it's such an excellent mirroring of these two characters. You know what I mean? Just from
absolutely.
149 with like Doom buying his technology and those two like getting into their petty little older brother, younger brother arguments.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to the battle of the wits turning physical here, and each of them, like you said, really doubling down on who they are, right?
Sure.
When they got back into Camelot and then coming together in the end, it's such a strong and just like I don't know if it would be as impactful if we didn't have this sequence of them working together and how like strong that art is, and yeah, man, it's just
all the close-ups and the detail work is really strong. Again, JR, I know he gets a lot of flack because a lot of artists don't age well. Their work doesn't age. As they get older, it's harder for them to, find motor skills. Don't stay sharp all your life. But this is, and he had, I think, had better inkers early in his career than he did maybe later in his career. This is just the best kind of JR stuff. I'm all in on this, and I makes me want to read more Iron Man in and around this era.
And Bob Layton, it makes me, because Bob Layton did I think the inks and the plotting or co-plotting on this. So and I know he's a real famous Iron Man guy. So it makes me, you know what I mean? It makes me want to go back, and I always hear people singing his praises on his art. So it really makes me want to go back and explore that.
For sure.
I completely agree with you. Yeah. But fantastic, man. It's one of the best I think 1-2 combos out there when it comes to like 2-issue story arcs and Doom Iron Man tales. Again, another book that really sets the precedent for a great comic book relationship, a great kind of frenemy dynamic, a back and forth that it kind of, that's the one thing that kind of bummed me out about the MCU casting is like we'll never get to see or maybe we will.
Never say never, because I'm still holding out hope that all that Downey's going to end up doing is just applying his voice. That's me at my like most hopeful is it's just his voice work, and he gets to auto-tune the crap out of it and do something really cool with voice acting. Maybe face like put the black dots all over his face and make him like control the face of Doom. I'm all in on that. That's what I want. I don't want to see Downey's face. I just want to like hear the voice and see how give him mocap and let him do the metal moving. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
As long as it doesn't sound like, it sounded rough in those earlier Fantastic Four movies when we had like, what was it, Julian McMahon as Doom?
Julian McMahon.
It sounded like he was talking inside a Halloween mask. It was rough. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they portray that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man, all time.
And again, I think it's part of, as just an overall of what we've read so far, because we're almost exactly halfway through this omnibus. For me, what I'm noticing is something JP and I noticed reading Catwoman, and what I'm noticing reading Poison Ivy right now is it's part of the evolution of our character in all three cases, from pure villain to what maybe nowadays considered to be anti-villain or even anti-hero, right? And I think he was very one-dimensional in those first few appearances, and the typical like twirl my mustache villain without any real like regard for what his end goal might be. And now here we have him teaming up with heroes a few times, right? We have him achieving some level of neutrality that he did not, contain up to this point. So I think it's an interesting journey that he's on here, because the Doom I know and love is, clearly he cares about himself. He cares about Latveria, but he is not purely a one-dimensional mustache twirling villain. And that's what I see us growing towards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love like we were talking about, the depths of commonality he found in so many different characters in this, whether it was, Namor, Storm, Iron Man, et cetera, et cetera. Like what those writers and artists were able to kind of see and mirror and play on was fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Another added another exciting layer to our beloved Master of Menace.
Right. JP with the comment of the night. John and Stu talking about this for so long because they really love the books, or they want Morgana to be on the screen as long as possible.
Yeah, I love that. There's a great scene, man. There's it's at the beginning of one of those Cabal issues, and Marco Jurdovich painted it, and it's like a Doom going back in time for a booty call with Morgana, and like it's beautifully illustrated. I encourage everybody to go out there and find that. But the Doom, he gets back there, and she's like, "Why do you come and visit me like this or something like that?" And he's like, "You entice me." I love their back and forth, man, and I love her look.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Whether it's Storm or Morgana, don't sleep on my boy.
There's no he recognizes quality. Eric, the Uncanny issues we read were 145 through 147, and then obviously Magneto, the trial of Magneto, is issue 200. So it was about 50 issues away from that. The supervillain team ups had to have been before that. So it's still a good ways away from this. This is still in the prime of Magneto as a baddie, not quite into the he could potentially be redemptive.
Yeah. What was that really just? When did that really start? What was
the trial of Magneto was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And ultimately exonerating him for past crimes, and then it sets up him becoming about a year later, maybe becoming leader of the X-Men and leader of the New Mutants, teaching the New Mutants, kids in Xavier's absence. So all that stuff happens in the early 200s of Uncanny, and and that's a big time in seeing Magneto for not purely being a villain, like the animated series did this year or last year. I mean,
yeah, no, it's interesting to hear about him gaining depth and complexity along with Doom.
Right. Yeah. Which is nice to see them paired together this way, because I think they were both starting down that path.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's it for this chunk of part 2 of our omnibus review. We clocked in at an hour again, John. I think we did all these books justice. I don't really think we're leaving too much on the table.
No, not at all. But there's still a lot more to come, because we're going to finish the Bronze Age and get into a bunch of Modern Age storylines too. So we haven't picked dates for the next 2, but we will definitely come up with something soon.
Absolutely. We'll be back over on John's table for the or John's channel, excuse me, for the 3rd volume. So make sure to check us out there. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here tonight, Brian?
No, I'll just mention kind of some of the stuff. The next volume is going to include some Byrne FF, some of those classic covers, like the one with Doom ripping the front of the comic. And then, of course, Secret Wars. It'll include 3 of the issues, or really just the Doom portions of the end of Secret Wars. And then some of the Marvel graphic novels, Emperor, Doom, and then you mentioned Triumph and Torment. Those 2 graphic novels will be in the next section that we do.
Fantastic books. I love that FF run. FF in the 240s with Byrne, some of my favorite Fantastic Four books.
And I think that's I've read like bits and pieces, but I've never read a big chunk of it. So this will be a fun chance for me. The others, obviously, the graphic novels and the Secret Wars, I'm super familiar with, but. So I'm excited more for the new stuff, the
Absolutely.
the Iron Man 149s. Those have been like fun part of this omnibus for me.
Yeah, and it was like that Frank Miller story. The ones that I'm not
Yes.
familiar with. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely been a highlight. But
100%.
yeah. You guys getting back to Omni next
Let's see. I think we're off
next
one
week?
more week.
Okay.
I think we're back on the 11th.
All right. You guys,
So
yeah.
I think that's the next Omni X-Men. Although tomorrow night I'm on Magic Lasso's YouTube channel. We're talking about Silver Age Justice League versus Silver Age Avengers. We're doing issue 9, the first appearance of Wonder Man.
Oh hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Check that out. Shout out to Lasso for coming through. Appreciate
yeah.
you. Yeah, absolutely. I will be over on 9 Panel Grids channel tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. for a new episode of Ink and Insights, where we'll be talking our favorite new releases from Marvel, DC, Image, and the Indies. We got a bunch of great books to talk about.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it with Eric. Make sure you check us out there. Also be on Blood Splatter Chatter at 9 o'clock on Thursday, and on Blame Fable and His Amazing Friends Friday night at 9. So yeah, check me out on all those shows.
What are you guys watching with? What are you watching with Verno?
Dude,
is it a movie this round? On
Oh yeah,
or
I've been trying to get it on for months and months. I am so excited. Silence of the Lambs.
What the heck?
Yes,
heck
man.
Yeah, I just recorded. Is it an anniversary for that movie? Because I just recorded.
I don't know. Is it
discussing
knowing Verno scheduling it? It probably is. I have no idea.
It's one of my
just been
favorite movies. I'm definitely going to make sure
God.
I book that because it's an iconic movie. Amazing.
Hell yeah,
and I'm rewatching the Hannibal TV series. If people have never watched that show, it is buck wild, and Mads Mikkelsen might be my favorite Hannibal after that show. It's so good.
Mads is a force of nature in that. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Check us out Thursday and then Friday night at 9 for Blame Fable's Amazing Friends. Yeah, man. Yeah. Can't wait. Going to be a great week. But John, thanks again. It's always a pleasure talking with you, man.
Of course,
one of my favorite
Absolutely.
people in the community. Thank you for spending time
buddy.
with us. Yeah, man. Thank you to everybody in the chat who came through. Fable, JP, Eric, Brother Joe, Lasso, who else? Rogue, Cliff, Brian. I think that is everybody. Conlin. I think that's everybody. Johnny Recaps. Thank you guys all for coming through. Until next time, station y'all. Peace.